Hello everybody, it's Friday again. Cheers. Got two main parts to the video today, but before we get on to the two main parts, I just want to say a quick thank you to all the people who've commented on my last two little mini rant videos. Didn't know how they'd be received, but plenty of people seem to enjoy them, so thank you very much. Now, the first part, proper, of this video is a VR sort of shout out sort of thing for Sparky Steve. Sparky Steve, a man with a very fine beard, is doing a 100 subscriber giveaway. He's got two prizes. There's a handmade fire steel ferro rod, which is the prize for comment entries, and the other prize, which is an axe head that he's going to refurbish and rehandle, is for, well, he doesn't want a VR as such, but he has asked for a shout out. So that's Sparky Steve. Link to his channel link to his channel in the description box below. And he's asked us just to say what our favourite wood cutting tool is. And mine has always been the Yorkshire billhook. Now the Yorkshire billhook, the head is usually 14-16 inches. It's a big thing, very heavy. Not to be confused with the Staffordshire billhook. The Staffordshire billhook being a lot smaller and lighter, that sort of size, and much more useful for hedge laying, where you need accuracy of cut. But if you've felled your tree and you've got a lot of wood to process, the Yorkshire billhook is brilliant. Many years ago, when I was involved in conservation work, we had two types of Yorkshire billhook available to us in our catalogue that we could use. I think one was Spear and Jackson and one was Bulldog, but I may be mistaken. The thing was though, one of them, whichever one it was, had a big long hickory handle, really nice, but the blade was rubbish. The other one had a little tiny, like a trowel handle, but the blade was brilliant. It was drop forged, and as you swung it through a tree limb, it would ring like a bell. So obviously we'd take the little trowel handles off and we'd make our own handles, usually out of a broken axe handle, something like that, or an old mattock handle. So we got the best of both worlds. We got the drop forged blade with a big long handle. Bit of a scary implement in the wrong hands, but used carefully, very, very efficient and a pleasure to use. So that's my favourite wood cutting tool, the Yorkshire billhook. Check out Sparky Steve. If you like his channel, give him a sub. Now, the second part, proper, of the video. A while ago I had a comment and a question. I think it was from Ed A to Z. I think it was, might be wrong. Basically speculating that I would have some nice high-end kitchen knives and asking me to show them. And I didn't do the video on that because I don't, really. And it's been on my mind since then, because fundamentally it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask of a knife channel. So I thought I'd better do the video, show you my favourite kitchen knives, and I'm going to put this out as an open challenge. Anybody who's watching this, maybe you have got some high-end kitchen knives. Maybe you're into your Wusthoffs and your Gustav Emils and your Henkels. Get them out and show them. Or maybe your knives in the kitchen are a bit more like this. Okay, so here we have the two knives that I use most of all in the kitchen. Both of them at least 30 years old, and the one that I use more than any other for pretty much everything is this bread knife. On the blade it says Skyline, stainless steel, made in England. And it's a fairly standard bread knife. Serrations. Only partial tang, 2 brass rivets, some sort of rosewood looking handle. The varnish is all coming off now after many years. It's getting a bit manky in places. But it's fine for me. See, the thing is, me and my lovely wife are both vegetarian. And for most vegetarian cooking, you don't need a particularly sharp knife. And in fact, this is actually quite safe, as you can see there. So if it slips, you might hurt yourself, but it's unlikely you're going to chop anything off. But it's sharp enough for veggies. And then if you want something a bit smaller or something pointy, I've got this again, this little paring knife, serrated edge. The point's actually blunted now, but never mind. Same sort of deal, partial tang, 2 brass rivets, some sort of, oh, this is plywood handle. Again, this is showing its age. I think this might be a Kitchen Devil, but I don't honestly know. And there's no writing left on the blade now after all them years. Occasionally, I might need something a bit more heavy duty, in which case we've got this carving knife. Now, this is a Laser, which was the brand, and I think this is a Sheffield brand. I don't know if this is still going. But as you can see, you've got a bevel on each side, but the serrations are cut in on one side. This one is nearly a full tang. It's full length, but it doesn't go full top to bottom. And again, it's a plywood handle, some sort of rosewood colour stain. It's very, very pointy. It's quite thin, barely 2mm thick. It's quite flexible. The main uses for this is it is very good for sewing up frozen food, but because we very rarely have meat in the freezer, it's a long time since I've had to sew anything up like that. It's invaluable for butternut squash. Any veggies out there, or omnivores who just like a bit of butternut squash, I'm sure you'll all be aware of how rock hard it is to get it open and cut it up, and that does a great job. A bit sharper than the others. I probably wouldn't try and saw my fingers off with that to show you, because that might actually do it. And then we do have one fairly sharp knife that I don't use too often, which is this little all steel one-piece knife. Again, this isn't a quality brand, it's a supermarket knife, possibly Tesco's, not sure. Keep this reasonably sharp. I'll just move these out of the way for a minute. But I did sharpen it actually properly, razor sharp once, and it doesn't hold an edge very well. It chips quite easily. So now I just keep it fairly sharp. That edge is done with 1000 grit wet and dry paper, and that's sharp enough to slice a soft tomato quite thinly. And that's pretty much it. So it may come as a surprise to some people, given the various different types of knives in my collection, some of them very, very nice indeed, that the kitchen knives I use are ordinary, to say the least. I would say in defence particularly of this bread knife that it's an extremely good knife, because it's at least 30 years old, never been sharpened, performs just as well today as it ever did. I don't subscribe to this idea that you need a big long tool roll full of, you know, a 16-piece knife set. Maybe if you work in the food industry, you do. But you don't at home. You don't even really need one of them knife blocks with 7 or 8 matching knives in. 2 or 3 will do you. That doesn't get used very often at all. That's mainly if I'm doing a salad that I might expect other people to look at and I want to slice the tomatoes and cucumber thinly. But by far most of the cooking and the food preparation I do is done with those 2. Ordinary, normal knives. I like them, they do the job. So, there you go, Ed. As I say, no Wusthof, no Henkels, no Gustav Emil, none of that. But I'm happy with them. So show us your knives. Maybe you've got posh ones, maybe you've got shite ones. I'll put that out as an open challenge. Thanks for watching.